You are now tuned in to the Jmack Experience Podcast.
All right, we're back, and we got a very, very special guest on the show today. It's an honor to be in your presence. Thank you so much for showing up, and thank you for the lovely treats we have here.
No problem. I had to share, we're going to talk about it a little bit. I wanted to actually have you try something.
Oh, delicious. Thank you so
much. So you know
much.
where we're coming from.
And I'm honored to be in your presence, like, truly, because I noticed that you closed down your shop today.
Yeah, we did work. We opened at 6 a.m.
Got
so
you.
we are there. We did do almost a full day. We're open till 2, so not terrible.
But that's an honor, because, like, for little old me, oh, my God, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today?
A little nervous.
Really?
I can't say I have a ton of experience in the podcast side of things, but I'm excited too because it's also something new, which I love because you need to keep things interesting. Yeah. So I'm always willing to learn and try new things.
And you know what? You're getting experience on the Jmack Experience Podcast. That's the best thing about it.
I see what you did there. That was cute.
I love it. So before we begin, these treats here, right?
Yes.
More or less, are these your daily special treats that you do, or was this a special
staples?
Was this a special for me, or?
Well, these are things that we typically would have daily.
Gotcha.
We have more items than this, but these are a couple of my favorites and customer favorites.
Right.
A little bit of everything. There's some cookies in there. We got some bars that we do. I threw in a blueberry muffin. Is super popular. Ooh. So I figured you might want to indulge.
Oh, I'm going to eat those all tonight at like 2 a.m. Right. I don't recommend doing that, folks, but that's when I get the munchie attack, and I definitely will be tearing those down. By the way, that cookie right there, the one with the sprinkles, amazing. I like it. And it's not too, sometimes you see cookies like that, and they're just like too rough for your, like, you know, nice and...
They're not. We even maybe underbake them a little bit.
Right.
I feel like Americans prefer things more on the raw side.
Exactly.
Rather than the well done. I don't know. That's up for debate, but in my opinion. So those might be a little on the underside, but I think it makes them taste better that way.
I love it. And then Fresh Cup Cafe, where are you located before we get into the intro? And can people place these type of orders as such?
Yeah. You can email us, call us, come in.
Awesome.
We don't have like an online ordering platform. We're pretty old school because we're a very small business.
Yeah.
So you just do that, and as long as you give us a couple days in advance, we can definitely help you with whatever you need. We've done catering, special events. People have rented out the facility. I've done birthday parties.
Wow.
The business closes earlier, so there's all that time where the space is available. So, and you gotta hustle being a small business. So
trust
we
me.
try to utilize the space as best we can.
I love it. I can't wait to get into this episode. This is amazing. Thank you once again. I can't wait to try the rest. I'm going to do a video while we're talking about this, and I'm going to show them every single treat that's in the box. You also do coffee as well. We're going to get into all that. I'm just super, I'm fat. I'm a fat guy. I've always been fat my whole life. So this right here is something that I've been waiting for. You're actually the first person, for those out there watching, to bring me a box of treats. So kudos to you. This is awesome.
Very nice.
Let's get into the intro real quick. Episode 60, the Jmack Experience Podcast. Jamey from Fresh Cup Cafe. We are here. Let's go.
This show is for motivational purposes only. However, we will not be politically correct, but our goal is to inspire those who listen and watch the show. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to follow us at the Jmack Experience Podcast and email us if you would like to be a guest on our platform at the Jmack Experience Podcast at gmail.com. Peace.
Once again, I want to give you another round of applause for being here. Thank you so much. So I like to start from the very beginning. What was life for you growing up?
Growing up, I'm the oldest.
Right.
So a lot of responsibility with that. I feel like when you're the oldest, you tend to grow up a little bit faster than everybody else does.
Right.
My parents were young, divorced young.
Yep.
So we always lived the separate, holidays here and there, stuff like that.
Right.
I grew up in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Small town outside Boston.
Yeah.
Most of my family is from Boston area, South Shore. So being from New England, I feel like we're a different breed.
Right.
We're raised differently.
Absolutely.
Our homes are different. You know what I mean? It's just, we get all the seasons.
Yeah, we do.
We're just built differently.
One day it's cold, one day it's raining, one day it's sunny.
And,
we got the bipolar weather over here.
Yeah. So I grew up in Massachusetts, and where I was born was the town I was raised in.
What's the name of the town?
Norwood, okay. Yeah, and never left until college.
Wow.
So it's a super small town life.
Right.
Yeah, but not too far from the city. Yeah. So we still had access to things.
Absolutely.
Culture.
Right. Yeah. So I know you're pretty pissed on wearing this Giants hat right now.
Yeah, I am a through and through Boston sports fan.
I like it.
It's that it would be insulting to
I'm sorry.
No,
we'll hug it out later.
Everybody has their teams, right? Everybody has, and when you're in Connecticut, it's a weird area because you have a lot of New York fans, all types of stuff, and I'm not used to that being where I'm from. We're so hardcore.
Yeah.
So being out this way, I've gotten better at accepting all the different
from afar,
teams.
Right? From afar.
Yeah, but even though the Patriots are going through it right now, I still support them.
So are the Giants. Hey, at least you guys had a way better run than us. I'm not that bad of a Giants fan, So hey, you know what? We're here. That's all that matters.
Right. I mean, we got the Celtics.
Yeah, so, the Celtics are doing great.
They're doing pretty good right now. So
and then we have the worst basketball team in the fucking history of the NBA. The fucking Knicks are horrible. That's why I'm a Bulls fan to this day.
Oh, see, Then you get people like that. There's a lot of Steelers fans in Connecticut. It's kind of so I've adapted.
Yeah,
I guess, but my soul
I like
is with New England, Boston.
I like it. So you said you grew up in a small town, close to the city, but pretty much it was a tight knit community. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, a lot of my games. Yeah. My mom was a small business owner.
So that's where you get the hustle from.
Yep, my dad was a chef at the time, and my mom was a hairdresser.
Oh wow!
So when I was a kid, all the local schools were kind of in the same vicinity. So where her hair salon was, I would just go after school.
Wow.
As I got older, I worked there. You know what I mean? Did stuff like that. Yeah, we were like a typical blue collar. We were taught, to work.
Yeah.
To earn a living.
Different from now.
Go to school, go to college.
Everybody just wants.
Yeah. I mean, if I could say anything, I wish I had more of an option.
Yeah,
to kind of think a little bit differently for myself.
Right.
Because you don't necessarily have to go to college these days.
Absolutely.
You could do a trade. We need tradesmen right now.
I believe in that.
So there's so many different things. So it's not necessarily have to be that way. But I was raised that way.
That was more like the traditional thing, right? You go to school, you got to go to college, then you get your career.
Right. And I wanted to go to hair school at first, and I learned it, I lived it, and my mom was like, no, it's a trade, go to college first, and if that's what you want to do, then go learn business and different things like that. And I was like, that's too much. So I ended up going to culinary school instead.
I like it. Where'd you go for culinary?
Johnson Wales.
You went to good old Johnson Wales. Did they kill your pockets? Because it's very expensive to go to that school.
Sure did.
Oh my!
Still paying for it.
Oh my God! But that's not for nothing. That's a prestigious place to go learn culinary.
It was Johnson & Wales, and CIA is another good culinary school that's in New York.
Oh really?
It's like one or the other. Okay. There are multiple programs out there, but those are the two. They're always in competition. Which one is better? But I wanted to stay closer to home, and that was a little far for me.
Yeah.
It Providence was new because I had been in the same place for so long, and even though it was manageable,
right?
Like Boston is a smaller city, so Providence is even smaller. So for little old me, it felt like I could go to school out there. Right? I could go move out there and still drive home when I needed to, you know? Right. So I still wasn't living at home, but still accessible.
I like it. So we kind of went a little bit further into, I wanted to ask you, like, growing up, I know you said, like, you know, you didn't have like a silver spoon and all that stuff. Right, yeah. And, you know, you did work and you learned the trade early on. Your mom had a salon. Did you face any trials and tribulations growing up?
I mean, just kind of figuring out, like, with divorce and, like, being separate at a young age.
That's from tough.
Learning and kind of navigating that, and then having parents that work.
Right.
So, like, my dad was a chef, so he was at the restaurant all the time, and he owned a couple of restaurants as well. So, like, if you wanted to go see him, you'd have to go to the restaurant. So we were, you know, but we had step parents and other people, like our grandparents. I grew up basically living at my grandparents' house.
Good old grandparents.
Whether it was my mom's side or my dad's side. Right. So they had a lot in my upbringing. Right. Definitely my grandparents for sure.
Yeah, I can relate. My grandparents, I'm originally from New York, but I used to come out here to see my grandparents every summer, every holiday. Yeah. It was just like that growing up. It's different now, I feel.
It is. I feel like kids, they don't really want to hang out with their grandparents as much, and they're very independent.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were growing up, we didn't have the same things as we do now. So Absolutely. We depended on learning and doing things from people that were retired or, you know, like our grandparents who were home. Exactly. While our parents worked.
Exactly.
And I appreciate it more now. You know what I mean? Obviously at this age and at this point in my life.
Don't you miss those days?
I do. Yeah. I'm thankful for them though. Like seeing the way the world is and how people are adapting and learning these days. I'm thankful I had to rough it, I guess, exactly. As you would say. Yeah. Being like a 90s kid, I was a late 80s baby. You know, I'm showing my age a little bit, but 90s, 2000s, great era.
Likewise.
Great time, you know what I mean? But we were the come up and we still had to hustle and learn that way. Yeah. Whereas now it's just a little bit different. So I'm thankful. Yeah. As much as I miss it.
Exactly.
I miss it. It's coming back around, it seems. The style, I guess it's being considered vintage or old, which is weird to me. But I like that.
Isn't it amazing?
It's a great time.
Like they say that, you know, the late 80s and early 90s were the last of the best days. That's what they literally say.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like seeing things and people were like, yeah, a 90s Christmas and this and that. I was like, I lived that and still live that way. Yeah. You know, because it was a great time.
Great time to be alive. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. Now, I'm aware that I gotta mention this because shout outs to Miss Lilo Violet. Yeah. She said that you had got her started in pinup. Is that so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it. I mean, I guess I could take credit for that. I mean, I try. Part of pinup is embracing other women, empowering women, no matter what you look like, what you do. It's supposed to be this space, right? You know, that you feel safe and you can be your organic self. You know what I mean? Yeah. I played roller derby for a long time, and that's another community that's similar. Yeah. Her other half played roller derby with me. I met her other half when she was 18.
Oh, wow.
She was a baby on skates. Yeah. So I've known them a long time. And we've just kind of evolved. And Lilo came a little later. I knew, I call her Miga. I knew her first. All right. And then I met Amy through her. And then we ended up having similar likes. And Amy's quirky. Her personality is lovely. We just always got along.
I like it.
You know, misfits stick together.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome.
So I've become a part of these communities where it's just, you know, accepting of whoever you are.
Absolutely. So I know, like, you know, before we get into the whole culinary aspect, so before you got into culinary, who introduced you to pinup and made you want to partake in it? Since I know that you've won a few crowns. Yeah. And a reigning queen of the Spindles car show. Yeah. See, I did my research. I did a little research before you came.
Yeah. So honestly, I grew up being like fascinated just with like Marilyn Monroe.
I love Marilyn Monroe. That's crazy.
How beautiful she is, and old movie and just old things.
Yeah.
I guess now people call it like grandma core. You know what I mean? Like I've just always just this vintage. That's why I love where I and how I grew up, the era.
Absolutely.
How it has just that nostalgic aspect. It's comforting to me, interesting. It was a simpler time.
Yes.
Life is really complicated now.
Yeah.
The fashion, women took so much time and care, and life was just so different then.
Yeah.
I just have an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Something I've always loved. And then one of my best friends who does shoots with me, does competitions with me, we met at roller derby almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
And we found that we both liked this, and that we call it like alternative fashion, mid-century modern. We love it. And we're like, this is something we'd bond over. And one day I think I was online, and Tommy's tattoo convention had said they were doing a pinup pageant, and I had messaged her and I was like, this exists. I was like, why don't we know about this? Because we do it for fun.
Right.
We already dress like this for fun. We love the lifestyle. Like, why don't we try this?
Right.
So when we got there, we had no idea the type of world that it involved. There were groups of women. Almost like the Pink Ladies and the T-Birds.
That's
like
what I was going to say. Right now, you're giving
know?
me like that Grease vibe right now. This is so awesome.
Like that exists.
Yeah.
And we had no idea. We're like, this is so cool. So we ended up competing for the first time. This was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago now. And I won.
Oh, you won?
My first time.
Ever?
And I won.
Wow. That's
and
awesome.
It was awesome. So from there on out, we just fell in love with it. And then we got into the photography side and learned that people still read magazines, and that, you know, these beautiful women are in, you know, magazines and do this really cool stuff. And we're like, this is awesome. So we kind of fell into it on accident.
Yeah.
And there's just this whole big world.
And
you
people
know
don't
what
really
I mean?
know about sometimes,
yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I was glad to have that.
That's awesome.
COVID kind of killed roller derby. So I did that for so long. It gave me, you know, something else to do that I enjoyed outside of living life.
Now, have you been publicized in any magazines?
I was just recently.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations to you. I like it.
That's
I like
the
it.
goal, right? So to win, you know, a pageant is always, you know, and then to be published or recognized in any type of way in print is amazing.
Yeah.
So goal achieved. Like it's
How did that make you feel?
Empowered.
Yeah.
As a curvier woman, you know what I mean? And there's so many stigmas around what you're supposed to look like and how you're supposed to be as a woman.
Right.
So to be able to be my authentic self in any way, shape, or form felt empowering.
That's amazing. I like it. That absolutely it boosts the ego, no? Like makes you want to do more.
Yeah, you know, no matter what, you just be yourself, and it's possible that you can literally do anything. I know it sounds so corny.
Yeah, no, that's how you. That's
but
how
like
it is.
it's manifesting.
Right.
Like I believe in that.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I thought, you know, someday I would have my own business,
and you do.
I do, and I believed that wholeheartedly.
I can't wait to, before we get into that now, do you have any events coming up for the whole pinup, you know?
Well, right now I'm just doing some shoots because it's kind of the off season.
Gotcha.
So maybe some print coming up. I was just published, so you might see something else coming up in print. It's like off season right now, basically, for pinup because summer is like car shows, you know, events where people can really be outdoors and enjoy and look at the cars. They won't bring it out any other time of year.
Yeah. I went to the Jay Leno car show. That was pretty good. Yeah,
he's got a lot of really nice cars.
That's a nice one there. Yeah.
I don't own one personally. My grandfather has a couple.
Oh, wow.
He was a mechanic for a long time. He's retired now. Yeah. But yeah, so I grew up around that as well. So my love for classic cars and, you know, stuff like that stems from, you know, roots.
What's your favorite muscle car?
I like Chevelles a lot. Novas are nice. You know, old school muscle.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
and
it.
then you have your classic caddies.
The caddy, you can't go wrong with the caddy.
The caddies, those, you know, they're also hard to come by. The parts are hard to come by, so you know when you see them, it's like rare nice car.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now going back to the culinary side of things. Now you say you went to Johnson and Wales.
Yes.
You worked as a pastry chef. Who inspired you? You said more or less it started from the beginning. So was it your parents that inspired you to get into culinary or somebody else?
I grew up in it. So I enjoyed working with food, and through my dad, like I knew a lot about savory and was super comfortable in it. Right. My father was not a very good baker. He didn't have the patience for it. Yeah. Because baking is completely different.
It's difficult.
So everything he would make would come out raw. Yeah. Like he just would never. So I was intrigued to learn more about that because I didn't know a lot about it.
Exactly.
I knew more about the savory side of things. Yeah. My grandmother, every family function, I was always in the kitchen with her. I had my hands in food. It was comforting to me. Yeah. Nostalgic. It made me feel good. I even have that kind of relationship when I eat food. It's like my favorite thing to do. Yeah. I'll just never be that skinny diet, I'll just
I'm
never.
The same way.
Food for me, it's not only work, but it, like I said, it's like it's a whole vibe.
Well, you know what they say: the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
As long as everything in moderation. I'm not promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, but like be happy.
Yeah,
like eat and be happy. Eat what you want to eat. Everything, but like I'm not telling you to go binge.
I was just gonna tell you that like sometimes we live, especially nowadays, we live in a world where people are like, no, I can't have that. That's too many calories. Oh, is it vegan? Is it gluten? Nobody even had all this shit back in the day.
Want to hear something crazy?
Yeah,
I was vegan for 7 years.
Oh my god!
And it just wasn't. I was eating more processed things, and it was a lot of work. I was not as healthy.
Right. And they say you're supposed to be very healthy when you go vegan, right?
It depends. It's a lot of processed things. If you're preparing everything, like your vegetables and all that, and like you have, taking supplements and doing proper. Yeah. But it's a lot of work, and it's expensive to do that. It's to be healthy is expensive.
Right.
But it's at the same time, I did it for health reasons. I went back and I started eating like red meat and stuff.
I need a fucking steak.
Yeah, literally. So it's about balance, and being happy. Like
exactly.
You don't have a bad relationship with food. It's not necessary. It's so great.
Well, this is how I feel. Imagine you die tomorrow and you need a taco today. I want a taco. I want a fucking, I want to eat some loaded fries.
So many things you can experience through food. Like that's what being a chef is about. Like it's creating and like showing people like it's art. Yeah. We want people to eat our food.
Yeah, and try it.
Yeah, exactly.
And enjoy it, like you said before, right?
Yeah. So it's a great relationship to have.
So more or less, growing up, I know you said I want to keep backtracking, but
it's okay.
I want to like get all the aspects of it. So when did you decide more or less? Because there was probably like you probably had like other dreams. I'm assuming, right? When you were growing up, everyone does. Like me, I wanted to be a rapper. Yeah. And, like, did you want to be anything else besides a chef?
I wanted to be famous.
You wanted to be famous. See, I like it, right? Did you sing and stuff like that?
I wanted to be a famous singer. I used to put on shows for my family when I was a little kid. Didn't everybody do that?
We did.
Like, were we the only kids that did that? Like, we'd make our family sit down and watch us do like little shows and stuff. Me and I'd torture my little sister, you know what I mean? But to be something. Right? Like not necessarily like have to when you're young you're like I want to be famous, but it's like just to be something to be proud of.
Exactly.
I mean, not that like you need to do something big to be proud, but just to be something, make something of yourself. Yeah. So you decided more or less like how further into your life that you decided, you know what, I want to be a chef. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. When did you like believe and decide that more or less? My love for food, really. Since the beginning. It's just, I had this relationship with food my whole life and just with the industry. Right. So with Dad having restaurants, it was also like quick money, you'd make decent money. The camaraderie. Yeah, and you're your own boss. The culture. Yeah. Like there's nothing like the food service industry culture. Oh, no. We're rugged, you know, it's the misfits. We work hard. Yeah. We put up with a lot of bullshit. Trust me, I know. I worked in the culinary for a long time. But you know what? That's what we love about it. Yeah. It's kind of weird. Yeah. But it just brings you back to it every time. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I like that. So now, how long were you
pretty much working for someone else when you decided, you know what, I need to branch off. I need to get my own thing. I need to become my own boss. When did that moment happen, and what made you want to open up a cafe out of all things?
Well, an opportunity came to me.
Okay.
It almost forced me to make this decision.
Oh, wow.
I was at a job for a while that I really loved.
Right.
And I was approached by a previous boss.
Oh, okay.
I was like, hey, there's this opportunity. Would you ever be interested in doing that?
Oh,
I
so
feel
like
you're in a place where you would be able to handle that.
Got you.
Me. Okay. Like, the universe kind of forced me to make a decision.
Right.
I went and saw the property, and obviously I know nothing about this kind of stuff. Like, I grew up, like, I know more than I thought I knew, but as far as the business side, I did not know a lot.
Right.
I went to school and took business classes, but that doesn't really prepare you at all. It's like with Johnson & Wales, yeah, you can go to school for college, but like you need to work in the field.
Absolutely.
It's like that kind of deal to really get in there and know what it's like.
Yeah,
so I'm
on.
in that now.
Yeah.
I'm in the nitty-gritty now, learning every day. So that's, you know, you got to try and prepare yourself for both sides, and being mostly a chef and not a chef owner. I was a little nervous about that.
Gotcha.
So going into it, I was advised by my previous boss, who was very experienced. I had a couple other advisors, you know, people I just met networking and through the industry. And I just, you know, with the support of my family, I took that plunge. And it was one of those things, like, I was so scared.
Nerve-wracking, right?
I still am, because I took my savings. I didn't, you know, it just everything I put, my heart, everything. Yeah. And you have to risk it, though. Like, you have to take a risk no matter what. You know what I mean? In these types of situations, it's, you know, what if I said no and I regretted it? Like, there's always that too. And I didn't want to feel like that. I wanted to at least, like, try it.
Exactly.
If I fail, okay.
Whatever.
I did it.
You get back and try again.
I was scared. It's scary. But I had a good support system as well, which is very helpful. Right. I kind of went, before I made the final decision, I went to all the important people in my life. Yeah. And I said, hey, what do you think about this? Absolutely. I'm going to be really broke. I said, you know,
for a while.
I literally, and I honestly, that's like, I said, you know, this is everything. Like, if I'm down and out, will you support me? Do you think this is a good idea? Like, is this crazy? I had an aunt that was a lawyer. That's a lawyer. I had her helping me. You know, I had, you know, a good support system. I went and saw my grandparents. My grandfather, that's a mechanic, and my Nana at the time, Alzheimer's, right? So it's starting to happen, right? So I was lucky enough to get their opinion when she was still kind of aware. Right. Now she's not. So it meant a lot to me. So I ended up going for it. Everybody told me to. And here I am today.
Aren't you happy that you made that decision?
Yeah.
Aren't you happy?
Yeah, don't mind me.
Nah, don't worry. This is what we're here for. I love it. This is the goal of opening up and getting your story out there, because
crazy.
We want to walk everyone through, and hopefully your story will inspire somebody out there. And I'm sorry, I gotta start getting tissues here, because literally this is like the second or third guest that this has happened to.
I'm usually like a, you know, tough.
And you know what? This is great, because part of, you know, speaking about your past and your journey is letting it out, you know, and I appreciate you opening up, and especially on my platform, and like, you might inspire somebody out there who's scared to take that step, like you just said, you know, like, because it's a lot to think about. Like you said, look at all the people you had to confide in. Yep. So they could give you the right advice. Right. You know, because if they didn't tell you, you know, go for it, do that, you probably would have not did it, and you probably would have stayed content. Right. Where you were at. Yeah. You know, not saying because you say you love your job.
Yeah, I was completely in a space that I didn't need to leave. Right. I was in a good situation at my job. It's a pretty awesome bakery called Sift in downtown Mystic. They are #1 supporters of me. I love them so much. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. But it's just been a ride. Right. But I think it's a part of my journey.
Well, people don't see what it takes to become your own boss and an entrepreneur. I've been there. I had my own.
I tell people don't.
Yeah.
I tell people don't. If you are not ready, it literally, you have
blood,
to
sweat,
live
and
your
tears.
life literally you can only do it one day at a time, which I'm learning because it's so crazy. Things can change like that, personal or professional. Yeah. And you have to be kind of, ready for that. And then you have to give yourself grace too. So if I could tell anybody anything, it's something that I'm learning as I'm getting older, wiser, I guess, you got to try and take it one day at a time when you got to tackle all that.
Absolutely.
Or else, you go crazy.
Yeah. And then, who's going to run the business then?
Right.
At the end of the day. And not only that, it could lead you to your grade. Like, stress kills. Yes. People understand. If you that stressed out, you can literally drop dead.
It was hard. Yeah. Like, it's, I wasn't sleeping sometimes. I was just, trying to juggle everything. Because obviously, food service, there's a lot that goes with that. Your vendors, the cost of things, the product, when you make stuff from scratch like we do, consistency. That's not everybody does that. And that's stressful.
Yeah. And then you don't want to give, like... Another thing, too, customer service. Yeah. Sometimes you deal with the snobbiest of people, not to downplay anybody, but, the customer's always right. Yeah. So you got to, make sure everything's on point. Even if you have people that are, excuse my friends, but assholes. Yeah. You got to still treat them a certain manner.
Of course. Right? But that's why we're professionals and we provide a service. Yeah. But what's really cool about us at Fresh Cup is that we're regular. We like to say just regular if that's a label, right? Exactly. So we talk to our customers, like we would talk to a family member or a friend even. Right. We even confide in some of those customers. They become family. Mm-hmm. We're a very small business. Like I said, we have a small staff of about 4. Wow. All family, friends. Nice. So it's important to have that connection when you're so small. Exactly. And Westerly has been great.
Yeah? Yeah. What's funny? I'm a little bit, because being that I'm from New York City, I only I'm all Providence. I got to start branching out a little bit. Yeah. How is it in Westerly? Is it nice over there?
It's up and coming. Okay. It's, the food scene is really cool. There's a lot of great local businesses there.
I'm going to have to come to your cafe. Yeah. Definitely going to have to come.
Definitely. Show you some love. Yeah. Sure. It's where we are is near the beach too. So you get the seasonal vibe. So in the summer, it's completely different.
It's Quamicket, right?
Yeah. And then you have your local vibe, which you always got to cater to them, show them love because they're there year round. Yeah. It's a cool little niche. It's small town, which reminds me of home. Right. So I like that I'm a little closer to home, a little less near New York.
Yeah. And then you got your you start building relationships. That's the main thing. And like you said, people become like family. Hey, that's Bob from down the street. Right. He likes his coffee like this. Or you start knowing what people already want. That's the beauty of they love Culinary.
It. Yes. And it's it's so bad. I'll know who they are based off their order before I know their name, or I'll forget a name, but I'll be like, yeah, that's, extra shot latte guy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you already know.
And it's the little things, but it's enjoyable. I'm used to being in a kitchen, where I don't have as much association with the front. Right. At my last job, I was more exposed to the front than I have been, so it wasn't as bad. Yeah. So this has been my experience with the front of the house more than ever. I like it. The customers, stuff like that, having to remember my customer service attitude and voice and, And
even if you're having a shitty day, you got to have a smile on your face.
It's I like it. Yeah. Yeah. It makes things interesting. Every day is different. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Now, I see here these pastries, as I said before, and some of your cakes too that I seen on your page. What are your best sellers? What are some fan favorites that people go and they're like, if you go to Fresh Cup Cafe, you have to order that?
I'd have to say our scones are super popular.
Nice.
The blueberry muffin is very popular. The cookies, the flavors that tend to go the fastest are that sprinkle cookie that you tried.
Oh my God, I can't wait to eat it with some ice cream.
And the salted brownie cookie that's in there, the chocolatey looking one. People really like that. Yeah. But we have really good coffee.
Oh, I was just going to get to that. So tell us about I was just going to say, do you roast your own coffee beans?
We do not.
But
it's local.
Okay.
So, New Harvest. Providence.
Shout outs to them.
Yeah,
okay, nice.
They're amazing. So Rick is the owner. Nice. Very, very nice guy. When I was going to school at Johnson & Wales, I had a job at Pastiche on Federal Hill.
Oh, Pastiche. They have really good.
Yeah, so that was like the first management job I ever got.
Really?
And I worked at Pastiche pretty much all through college. Nice. And Rick, when he was first getting started, had sold his coffee there. Oh. And then as I worked through the industry, a couple other places I worked at had his coffee, and it was a really great product. And then I ended up getting a business in Rhode Island, and I wanted to completely change the coffee program that the business there before had, and kind of like hand pick it like food. You know what I mean? Like treat it like food. Right. So I ended up getting in touch with Rick because we used them at Sift, my job prior, so it just stayed connected. And you knew that industry. People like it. Yeah, right? It's got a great reputation. They have retail shops in Providence. It's a great product, organic. It's really good, really good. And I'm not biased. I'm a coffee drinker. I'm not. So it's important to me that the coffee, was good. And honestly, it's hard to get to a cafe or restaurant where you can get both good coffee and good food. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes a double whammy. Sometimes it's hard to achieve that. So I wanted to achieve that. I'm glad you. Well, I was gonna say I'm not a coffee drinker, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big breakfast guy. We have tea. We have breakfast. But when I eat breakfast, I have to have my coffee. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like at least when I'm out to eat. Now in the house, I won't make coffee every day. That's just not my thing. But like if I go out to a restaurant and I'm eating breakfast, I'm like, just give me a coffee. Yeah, I get in my mode, you know what I mean? But I like tea as well. So what about tea? Let's get into that. We use loose leaf tea. Nice. A brand called Rishi. It's a really nice brand. So we measure the amount and then we put it in a tea bag and steep it. What's nice about this particular tea is the quality is good. So you can just add hot water a couple of times even after you finish it, so you get value, which is hard to come by these days. That's true. And that's what I try and give people also. Like our cookies are huge, quantity over quality. Quality over quantity, right? That's what they say. I hope the quality is good. That up. So that's something that we pride ourselves on there too. If you get a sandwich, it's full of stuff. You're not getting, you know what I mean? We want people to come back. And we want it to be the same every time. Do you do like, being that I'm from the city, do you do bacon, egg, and cheese at your cafe? Yes, we do. We get New York bagels. I love it. I love bagels. We get New York bagels. No way. Yeah, they're from Westchester, Mount Vernon. Oh, Mount Vernon. Yes, that's right next to Yonkers and all. That's awesome. Yep, so we make literally everything. Pretty much, but the bagels. I leave that to New York. I don't have the facility for bagels, and they're a whole other beast. That's a whole nother, So I let New York have that. They have the water there that makes everything taste good, so they can have that. So they bring it fresh all the way from... There's a group of guys that meet up. Yeah. And then they drive them down. I think might be New Haven area. Oh, I gotta try your bagels. Yeah. I'm a big bagel guy too. I love bagels. We don't have anything like frilly. We have, all your staples, but we do carry a salt bagel, which is a very New York thing. It's covered in kosher salt. It's delicious. Yeah. I like the everything bagel, of course, but they are great size. They're just a good bagel. Just New York bagels are great. Oh, they're awesome. I'm telling you, it's the water. Oh my God! And that's another thing. Before I order when I have breakfast as well, I need a cream cheese bagel with my coffee. It's like a must. It goes hand in hand. Habit with that. Well, we have all that. I like it. I gotta come over there. I'm gonna bring my daughter. Because I was showing her your page. My daughter's she's usually in the studio, but now I switched up my day to do my podcast. And I said, look who's coming. And she's like, oh my God, that looks delicious. I'm like, I'm going to take you there. Because now when I go home with this, she's going to lose it. That's awesome. So the bagels, we went through the tea. Now the sandwiches. We have a few. What got you into that? I mean, because, you could have just stayed at the pastries and just the bagels. Now, you wanted to also have breakfast sandwiches, I'm assuming, or lunch sandwiches as well? We wanted, a cafe has a little bit of everything, right? Gotcha. So you want to give them, a little bit of breakfast, a little bit of lunch, brunch, anything that you would want, like, during the day. Right. And then also the business that was there before us, they had a clientele, and they did a lot of the same, like similar things. And I was like, well, that's what people are looking for when they go there. So let's elevate it. You know what I mean? Like, let's make it better.
Right.
So we ended up creating, our menu and, elevated that, and people really love it. And being near the beach, having the option of cold sandwiches is nice, not just the hot sandwiches. So that's been popular, especially during the hot weather.
Right.
But yeah, variety, a little bit of everything.
I like it. So we call it heroes in the city. What do they call it in New England?
Was it like subs or grinders?
Subs or grinders. Yeah.
There's a debate.
When I came out here, I'm like, I want a hero. They're like, what the fuck is a hero? I'm like, it's that. And they're like, oh, all right, it's grinder. And I'm like, okay.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah, give me a nice ham and cheese with some lettuce and tomatoes, mayo on, a little bit of salt.
Yeah, we have that.
Awesome. What made you come up with the concept of the name of the establishment, Fresh Cup Cafe? What made you?
Here's the thing. So that was already there.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is, I started to get into wanting to rename it, rebrand it, getting my ideas out there, logos, names. It's hard to find a name that's not picked already.
Right.
It was a lot of work.
Exactly.
And money to rebrand and change the name. And I was advised, I talked to some people, got some, input. Yeah. And I said, what do you think? Do you think I should just leave it? It's what it's known as. Yeah. Should we change it? We could go back and change it later. Yep. So we just ended up staying with the name that was already there.
Oh, wow. So you got like pretty much like a franchise. Like that's usually when you buy a franchise already all.
Oh, I guess.
Name,
yeah.
More
yeah.
Like, not really in a sense, but like small business wise. Like
yeah.
kind of
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Because the customer, like it was, I feel like to rebrand it, like I said, it just being a small business, it was just a lot of work. And I didn't know a lot about it.
And you know what? Not for nothing. That kind of did you a favor too, because just all in itself, like you said, rebranding, all that, people don't know what it is now, so they already know what it is. So you already got your regulars that were already coming there, and then when you revamp it the way to your style, now you got more people coming through the door. So I'm pretty sure that was a win-win all in itself.
It was very Italian focused when we got there. It was like all Italian, the flag colors and things like that. So we made it a lot softer.
Mamma mia.
Yeah. We didn't want to be Italian focused.
Right.
I wanted to do things that I like.
Exactly.
What I felt was good and what I thought people might like too.
Yeah.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah. We do have a couple of Italian things, but we're not Italian specific,
Absolutely.
And Westerly has a lot of Italian roots, so we pay tribute in little ways.
Absolutely.
Because you gotta.
Now, do you have any seasonal menu items, and what inspires those specials?
We definitely change up some, like the cookies will have a seasonal flavor that'll rotate in and out. There's like a lavender cookie that we rotate in. There's a key lime bar that rotates in, and like the pecan bar will rotate out. Yeah. Holidays we'll do specific menus, like Valentine's Day is coming up. Right. So we'll offer like a specific seasonal Valentine's Day menu. I like it. Or like Mother's Day, I did like strawberry shortcakes. You know what I mean? I'll run a special. Right. We do have weekly specials up on the board that, get changed out. There's typically a breakfast sandwich special and then a lunch sandwich special to just keep things interesting. I
like it. Are there any new menu items or services that you're considering to do this year for 2025?
So the Valentine's menu, there'll be some new items that we've never done before. People have been asking a lot for cannolis lately.
Cannolis actually really
so
good.
I think we might try to dabble in that. Yeah. It's really hard to do well.
Yeah.
And when you're in an area where there's a lot of people that like cannolis,
especially Italians, right? They're like, this cannoli's not good.
To say, I'm sure it'll be critiqued, and I'm sure they'll let me know. So that'll be kind of cool. We've been doing more and more custom cakes, which is nice because I can use the practice. So if people are, or if they didn't know that we do that, we do custom cakes. I worked for the Cake Boss, buddy at Mohegan Sun, for about four and a half years.
Wow.
And I did a lot of cakes there.
Cakes are a whole nother animal, right?
They are, and I always told myself I wouldn't do it. It's just a lot, but I find myself being comfortable in it because I've had so much experience in the past, and then now I can actually, I don't want to use fondant. I only want to do buttercream. It's what I want to do, which is kind of nice. Whereas before, people had to tell me, you know, you need to do this. So I can pick and choose what I want to do as far as cake stuff goes. So that's kind of nice. So we've been doing that a lot more lately, which has been cool.
Yeah.
Because, you know, cakes are fun. It gives me an opportunity to be real creative.
Absolutely.
And I like that.
And I'm not going to lie. That was actually, you got right to it. That's amazing. Kind of read my mind. Cakes, like, there's big money in cakes. Like, you do wedding cakes and stuff like that. Oh, forget about it. Like,
yeah, you gotta have patience for it. It's a whole other beast. Yeah. Customer vibe is different as well.
Oh, yeah.
Demand and what people want is tough too, because budget too. People don't understand the time. You know, money. This is an industry, and it's hard for me even now when I give a customer a price. I'm like, you know, because
you feel like kind of bad, right?
Like, but like even then, I lowball. You know, it's a demanding industry. It's expensive. Our time is worth it too. The hours, a lot goes into those cakes, and they'll send a picture and they'll say, you know, I want this, but I only want to spend this. It's hard. That can make it awkward in this industry. You know, it's a weird kind of moment when you're dealing with that side of it. That's, I think, kind of why I don't like doing cakes. That's the side that's uncomfortable, but it's gotten easier now that I've done more. And you know, when you're in it, you learn your worth a little bit too.
Absolutely.
That your time is, you know, worth something.
Yeah. Especially when you got a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
Now, what are your hours of operation?
Right now our winter hours are Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Nice.
Sundays, 6 a.m. Excuse me, not Monday. We're closed Monday. I'm sorry. Tuesday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yep.
Sunday, 6 a.m. to 12.
Nice and early. You gotta get there early.
I'm like, no, we're not open Mondays, Jamey.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Because every time my family comes from the city, because you know New York, we're like 7 days a week, 24 hours.
Yep.
They're like, how a business is making money over here? They close at fucking 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Like, it's like unheard of for a New Yorker, you know? Like,
well, for us, it's like we're serving like mostly breakfast, lunchy kind of deal. I mean, I could get into like a coffee house vibe and maybe stay open later. Yeah. We used to be open till 4, but that time frame, it was like dead,
right?
And to pay out the staff and everything, so we ended up opening earlier, so 6 a.m. is pretty, you know what I mean, and that helped. But honestly, you got to do what's best for the business. So Westerly is also a seasonal town,
right? So
it does quiet down in certain parts of the year, just like this, you know, the seasons. It affects. Absolutely. Stuff. So people do winter hours and summer hours. And so we'll definitely be open 7 days once spring, summer hits. It's just adjusted for the slower activity in the area.
Yeah. Now, we'll be signing off shortly. What's next for Jamey from Fresh Cup Cafe, and anything else you want to promote that I didn't cover or that I might have missed?
What's next? I mean, new products. Always, you know, we're looking for ideas too. If the customers want to see something, you know, they can always ask and give us ideas too.
Nice.
I'd like to see, you know, just positivity in this next year, growth for the business.
Absolutely.
Personal too. Yeah, I mean, I hope to learn new things. Just so my mind keeps growing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't get stale, business or personal. And healthy for my family, my kids, you know, friends, any acquaintances. I hope 2025 is good to everybody.
It's going to be
because it seems like people are going through it.
Oh my God.
It seems like there's a weird energy right now. So I just hope that this year for everybody, not just myself, that it's kind of brings a year of peace.
And I was just going to say, like, 2024 and literally the ending of 2023 was a very rough, I feel like we were in a rough patch these last year and a half, no?
Yeah, and when you think you're like, is anybody else going through it? They are.
Yeah.
They are in their own way.
Right.
You know, Okay.
Vote for Piggy.
Biggie,
whatever that means.
Biggie.
Oh, Biggie. Okay.
My dog. You know, I'm also learning that it's when you think it's bad, people got it bad too, and it's more than we think.
Absolutely.
So when people ask me like, what do you want for this year? What are your resolutions? I just want normal stresses and peace.
Yes.
But what's normal?
Exactly.
You know, like what am I putting out there for myself?
There's no such thing as normal. I don't know if you agree, but I know I feel there's no such thing as normal.
But yeah, peace, you know, for everybody, success in whatever you do.
Yeah.
And you know, learn from your failures or mistakes or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Grow.
Yeah. And always educate yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's good to know things. I feel like we live in an era now where like some people just don't want to, I don't know, not everybody, but I just feel like some people, I don't care about that. So I'm not, like, it's good to know different things, I feel. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to be able to step in outside of your box and, you know, you want to be able to sit in certain conversations that you're not normally used to and be able to relate to others, right? Like, I don't know. But we're going to get into Album of the Week real quick.
Album of the week on the Jmack Experience Podcast.
Album of the week this week is Muddy Waters 2 by Redman. Have you heard it yet?
No.
Now I noticed you tagged me in a post and you put Are you into hip hop?
I am.
That is fire.
I have quite the taste in music.
I was like, does she know I'm from Queens? Because we love Nas.
Yes.
Obviously, like that's awesome. So you're a hip hop fan.
I am.
That's
so
fire.
I mean, my music goes all over, but I mean that when we grew up, hip hop was amazing. Hip hop was amazing. Yeah. Also, my dad had a band always when I was a kid. He played guitar. I was 80s music. Was huge. They hair bands, all that.
Yeah.
I was very music educated, but I've always gravitated towards the hip hop, R&B, 90s R&B.
Yeah.
Love it.
That was the best time.
They just don't make music like that anymore.
Best time to be alive. We're gonna get to movie of the week.
Movie of the week on the Jmack Experience Podcast.
Movie of the week this week is Better Man, the story of Robbie Williams. He's the British superstar. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be coming out soon. Will you be watching it? Are you into movies?
I am. I just saw Nosferatu.
How was it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I liked it, but there were, you got to see. If you're a horror fan, definitely see it. If you like classic horror, go see it.
Nice.
I'd love to hear other people's opinions on it.
Now, where can we follow you social media wise? So
the business is at Fresh Cup Cafe. We have a website, www.freshcupcafe.com.
Nice.
My personal, obviously, if you're the pinup side or if you're interested in any of that, Petit Gâteau, which is little cake in French, 86. I was born. But yeah, and then Facebook, Jamey Noel. That's me.
Nice. Can we agree that all the experiences that you went to got you to where you are today?
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. And any advice out there for those who may be experiencing the same situations that you went through or are going through?
Keep going.
I love it.
Keep going.
Any last words or special shout outs before we sign off?
Just my family and friends, my employees, thank you for everything. My kids, I love you. My other half, I love you. All the supporters, customers, everyone. Thank you for everything.
You got it. Episode 60, Jamey from Fresh Cup Cafe. It was an honor to be in your presence. Thank you so much for coming to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Shout outs to Conversations. We are signing out. The Jmack Experience Podcast. Gra.
Thanks for coming on the Jmack Experience Podcast. Be sure to come on for another episode every single week. Until next time, peace.
Black Sheep Sea Moss. It'll make you want to slap your daddy.
Oh, harder, daddy.